Microsoft planning to buy GitHub for $2 billion. Microsoft planning to undermine open source. Linux is a cancer. Well, Rose, as we've seen over these past years, Microsoft is probably the biggest proponent of Linux right now. And so they use Linux in a lot more things than we think of. And as I have mentioned before, all of these companies, they're using Linux because it makes them money. Okay, so Microsoft's going to buy, this is my prediction, and we have talked about this before. Microsoft is going to buy Ubuntu, my opinion. They'll buy GitHub. They will be the biggest owners of open source projects over any of these other companies. That's crazy to say. That's crazy to say, but that's where it's going. Just look at what Microsoft is doing. And it's primarily due to Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft. He's not stupid. He knows that Microsoft trying to fight Linux as an operating system, as a provider, it wasn't working. And that's why Steve Ballmer was not successful when he called Linux as a cancer. Nadella is different. He leverages whatever technologies will help the business. And he saw Linux many years ago that that's where they needed to go. And guess what? Microsoft has Linux almost everywhere now. Okay, if you look at they started with their desktop operating system with their Linux WSL. And then they added Linux to their Azure cloud services along with their Azure Linux distro, okay, for IoT devices. And now they're going to potentially buy GitHub, and I think they're going to buy Ubuntu as well. And so I know that's probably a horrible thing, but that's the reality. Just look at everything that they're doing. And so, and many times I've showed before the Linux Foundation, all the biggest supporters, members of the Linux Foundation, they're all these big companies. They're all Google, Microsoft, Facebook. Okay, so yeah, so yeah, we might have to make a news later on where Microsoft officially buys Ubuntu. I really, really feel that that's what's happening, and everything that they're doing, GitHub, all this stuff, it's not surprising to me because that's what Nadella, with his master plan, that's where he's heading. And that's why Microsoft is a company that most people in the consumer space or even in the tech space, they don't really talk about much in terms of just, oh, it's Microsoft versus Linux, Microsoft versus Apple. No, Microsoft, they're trying to take over the world. And they're doing a lot of moves underneath everything in the right places. Okay, so let's kind of get ready for that. I don't know what to say about that. Yeah, they buy GitHub, they buy Ubuntu. I'm not sure. You know, yeah, I don't know, because as we know this, business-wise, I understand why they're doing it, but I don't want a Microsoft experience on my Linux desktop operating system. Okay, and I know Microsoft, they've already released a Linux distro, by the way, because of that Azure IoT. They've already taken the first step. And so I mentioned this many months ago that Microsoft will be releasing a full-on Linux distro for the desktop. And I'm guaranteeing you it's going to be one of the most popular distros. Why? Because they have a lot of people who use Microsoft Windows. And so what they're going to say is, hey, you could get this free version of Microsoft. It's a Linux-based distribution as for all the people who use Linux. And you're going to be able to play games, full-on Microsoft games through our Linux distro. And you're going to be able to use most of your programs like Adobe and stuff through Microsoft, this Linux distro. And then for a fee, you could pay for full-on virtualization. That's where Microsoft is going to go. That's my prediction. I've said this many months ago, but I know that's what they're going to do. Then that way, they're going to be able to control both areas, both proprietary and open source. And they're going to have a huge advantage over both Apple and Google. And so I remember that I said this in this video, and I'll go back to other videos, and maybe whenever this stuff happens, I'm going to compile all of it in one video. Okay, so yeah, and so yeah, I don't like the Microsoft experience, man, but I think it's going to happen, unfortunately. And so anyway, much like the Linux desktop, hold on to your Linux operating systems for as long as you can. Hey geeks, if you are a creative geek like me and you actually wanted to learn how to create content on YouTube and other places on the internet, then join my Go Content Creators group, where you would get access to 30 free videos and more continuing content for all their creative geeks out there. And the best part of it is all of this is free. All you have to do is simply go to the link below, head over to our page, and join my Go Content Creators group. Thanks a lot, and I will see you on the other side. Thanks for checking out this episode. And as always, if you like these videos, be sure to click on the subscribe button. And for full written content, audio content, and additional geek stuff, head over to geekoutdoors.com, and I'll see you outdoors on the very next episode.